They don't care about, all this talk about, I believe, we need to believe women. Only if it's Kavanaugh in high school, but not the current lieutenant governor in the state of the Commonwealth of Virginia. It's ridiculous. Now, Meadows also revealed that he and Papadopoulos have spoken about possible declassification, that if Trump declassifies the records, the American people will be astonished to see not only what was going on, and the president was right, he was actually taped and recorded, but other than that, he was not colluding with the Russians, and they knew it early on. So what was this all about? This was about literally saving one favored candidate who, again, is not the loathsome Donald Trump, but the favored candidate that should win 100 million to zero, and whose voters are not smelly Walmart people and irredeemable deplorables that cling to God, their Bibles, their guns, and religion. No, they set the path for Hillary. Now, ignoring the fact that she did and pretty much rigged the system against Bernie had no shot. The whole thing was wrapped up behind the scenes. They controlled everything. So it's going to be a game changer, and it's going to happen, and it's going to happen quicker than you think. We are any day, week now away from this total avalanche of information. And I know the Democrats, they can go on, whatever. Look at Joe Biden. Joe Biden announces that Pennsylvania is key for him to be elected president if he were to ever get the nomination. All right, so he has another big Philly campaign kickoff. And, Donald Trump gets these arenas of 25,000 people, and they're packed every time. And Trump supporters that appreciate the state of the economy and the president's leadership and fearlessness and taking on the fake news industry, they love to go see him. It's like he's the only guy that doesn't play piano, sing, or guitar or drums that could captivate people to stand all those hours or wait out in the rain for 12, 14 hours, as has happened many, many times. But anyway, so Biden did another Philly rally. Again, when he was there the first time, you had job fairs in Pennsylvania prisons going on. They have so much opportunity. They don't have enough workers in Pennsylvania, in large part because of the fracking industry and the good economy. The steel industry has come back. The president's fighting against these tariffs, against these countries that take advantage of us. They're not using our products. They're not buying our cars. They're not buying our steel. But we're letting all their crap into this country. And you know what? That means American jobs. We need an equal playing field. You can't have a $500 billion trade deficit with China. Anyway, so maybe crowds don't matter. Crowd size don't matter. But I'm going to tell you something. You go back and look at Obama and his run, and it's pretty transparent that there was something serious in terms of a movement for Obama. We tried to do our very best and vet him when others would not. Anyway, so Biden's press accounts, they put the audience at 6,000 people, which was less than half the number of supporters Trump routinely gets for just an average rally. And while speaking, I guess a stone's throw from your movie Rocky, they have a statue there in Philadelphia for the launch of his campaign. This was the birthplace of our democracy. Well, the crowd numbered less than 6,000. It had a capacity crowd for 100,000. That's pretty embarrassing. That looks pretty bad. And so, yeah, old Joe was up against some pretty tough competition. He was up against the Italian Market Festival. I guess he wasn't the big draw that weekend. So I think that's all of this is playing into account here. It's got to be taken into account. We're going to have a quintessential compare and contrast election. This is what we call a choice election. You have the Biden-Obama failed policies of the past, or you stay the course. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? And are you better off dramatically so 4 years ago with Donald Trump's plans? And those that were most disproportionately negatively impacted in the Biden-Obama years, minorities, Asian Americans, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, and women, they are leading the charge and getting the most benefit of the Trump economic policies. By the way, Jason Amash already has a primary challenger for he's an idiot. He's always been an idiot. I'm Justin Amash, sorry. All right, we got some AOC news, and we have these polls we're going to go over. I think that the person that captured what's really gone on as it relates to post-Mueller report, that part of Trump's presidency, is Byron York. I'll share that with you today. Newt Gingrich is going to check in, and we have a brand new study on the Hispanic American community and Donald Trump and what opportunities are available for him. And there's a ton. Now, there is a recent Gallup survey. It shows that Americans are now more worried about burglary than any other crime, more than mugging, more than terrorism, more than car theft and murder. And according to studies, just over 10% of break-ins are planned ahead of time. Now, the rest are spur of the moment, but crimes of opportunity, as we call them. In other words, random. And according to the FBI, the average loss in a burglary is over $2,000. That can be pretty hard for people to recover from. There are over 2 million burglaries every year reported. That's one every 13 seconds. You need to protect your home and your family. And that's why I love Simply Safe Home Security. You don't bust up your walls. You don't have long-term contracts to sign. You can take it when you move to another house or another apartment. And it is the latest, greatest, best technology on the market today. And it's only $15 a month. And you decide if you want to keep it or not. These other companies make you sign long-term contracts. And then, by the way, you spend a month cleaning up the mess they make and painting the walls. And it's just a pain in the neck. Anyway, right now, Simply Safe has a great deal going on. Go to simplysafehannity.com. You'll get a free security camera when you order. That's a $100 value, absolutely free. And you have 24/7, 365 video evidence if someone tries to break into your home. And you also get the cameras free right now, simplysafehannity.com.
Coast to coast, border to border. Sean Hannity is on the radio right now.
All right, Congresswoman, well, really Speaker, because Nancy Pelosi is Speaker in name only. The Speaker of the House of Representatives is Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, and she's now issued a retraction regarding her big prediction and policy pronouncement. And she now says she does not believe that the world is going to end in 12 years unless we adopt her Green New Deal. In fact,
I think that the part of it that is generational is that millennials and people and, Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
Sounds pretty real to me. Sounds like doom and gloom and the end of the world as we know. But why do we have to, if the world's going to end in 12 years, why do we have to give up oil, gas, cows? I want my steak. My last meal, I want to be a cow. I want cows for everybody when the world's going to end. One last flight on an airplane before we go under. Anyway, now she's saying this is a technique of the GOP to take dry humor and sarcasm literally and fact check it like the world ending in 12 years thing. You have to have, the social intelligence of a sea sponge to think it's literal. And she wrote in a tweet published on Mother's Day. Anyways, I think she meant it. By the way, Adam Schiff says as Trump is reelected, we're done. We're finished. And then Ocasio-Cortez says the GOP doesn't care about babies. They want hell on earth. How does she know? Wake up every day. I want hell on earth. She's right. Everyone does, right?
Are you looking for a radio station near you that runs Sean Hannity? Well, you can locate it on our affiliate finder at Hannity.com.
NBC News Radio. I'm Tom Roberts. A bill severely restricting legal abortions could soon reach the desk of Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards. NBC's Lisa Carter reports the Democratic executive says he would sign it.
Lawmakers in the state are close to passing the heartbeat bill, which would restrict abortions after a heartbeat is detected in the fetus, which is about 6 weeks into a pregnancy. Language in the bill says the measure would only go into effect if a similar abortion bill in Mississippi is upheld by a federal court.
Officials in Alabama are identifying the officer shot and killed after responding to a domestic disturbance situation at a trailer park last night.
We're saddened to say that Officer William Beekner was fatally injured in the line of duty as he responded to that call for service.
Auburn Police Chief Paul Register says Beekner was a 13-year veteran of the department. 2 officers were wounded but are expected to survive. 29-year-old suspect Grady Wilkes was taken into custody this morning. Iran claims to have greatly boosted its enrichment of low-grade uranium. Iranian news agencies say the nation's stockpile limits under the 2015 nuclear accord no longer apply. President Trump removed the U.S. from the multi-nation deal last year. In a Fox News interview over the weekend, Trump said he will never allow Iran to develop nuclear weapons. Lori Lightfoot is now Chicago's 56th mayor.
I'm looking ahead to a city of safe streets and strong schools for every child, regardless of neighborhood or zip code.
Lightfoot becomes the first African-American woman and openly gay mayor of the city. She was sworn in this morning. The rape trial for the one-time highest-paid tight end in the NFL is getting underway today in San Diego. Kellen Winslow Jr. is accused of raping 2 women last year and raping an unconscious 17-year-old girl in 2003. Indiana police say 2-time Indy 500 winner Al Unser Jr. has been arrested for drunk driving. The race he won in 1992 and 1994 takes place this Sunday. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
If you want to be my lover, you gotta get with my friends. Make it last forever.
Fans of the Spice Girls can now rent the band's Union Jack and Blazin' double-decker bus as an Airbnb. The bus's interior has been converted into a hotel room big enough for 3 guests. The listing for the bus will be active starting on Wednesday, but the only dates available for rental are June 14th and 15th, which is when the Spice Girls are set to perform a reunion show at Wembley Stadium.
I'll show you.
A famous canyon in Iceland is closing because of Justin Bieber. He filmed a music video for his 2015 song I'll Show You in a canyon in southeast Iceland. Environmental officials say the number of visitors almost doubled between 2017 and 2018, which has damaged the site's vegetation. It will remain closed through at least June. 5 Seconds of Summer is dropping off a brand new song this week. The Australian boy band is releasing a track this Thursday titled Easier. Ariana Grande is channeling her inner astronaut. The pop star wore a spacesuit during her visit to NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston over the weekend. Grande has a song titled NASA on her Thank You Next album. That's entertainment. Lisa G. NBC News Radio.
iHeartRadio is now #1 for podcasts. And we'd like to say thanks. Thanks for downloading and listening to some of our 25,000 hit podcasts. And thanks for letting us introduce you to some of our favorites, like Disgraceland, the Ron Burgundy podcast, and Anna Faris is Unqualified podcast. We know we have something for everyone, so find yours now on the iHeartRadio app. Oh, and listening is always free, even if you want to download them to your phone so you can listen later. Your music, your stations, and #1 for podcasts.
iHeartRadio.
Sean Hannity on iHeartRadio.
as a rock. Honest, truthful. This is the Sean Hannity Show.
All right, 25 till the top of the hour, 800-941-SEAN if you want to be a part of the program. I mean, it's funny to watch just how radically left this new Democratic Party has become. And, yeah, I mean, there's things you can joke about. I mean, you know, AOC held on to that stupid idea for the longest time. That, you know, the world's ending in 12 years, but we're going to do it in 10. I'm like, okay, why all the work if there's only 2 extra years left anyway? And it didn't make sense. And then she starts with this. I guess this was over the weekend. And it's mind-numbing stupidity, but it also shows where the Democrats' heads are. You know, Harry Reid, I remember after they beat Mitt Romney, he said he had problems with his taxes. Remember, he attacked his business and he made a definitive statement. It was a total lie. And then he goes, do you have any regrets at all about telling people that something is true and it's not? He goes, we won, didn't we? And that's why every 2-4 years you get the same pattern. She says, to the GOP extremists trying to invoke the unborn to jail people for abortion, where are you on climate change? Oh, right. You want to burn fossil fuels till there's hell on earth. Oh, is this more hyperbole on her part, or is this how she really feels? You know, if they were painful, you want, you know, hell on earth. If they were truthful about their motives, they'd be consistent in their principles. They are not. No, Republicans, putting Alabama and that issue aside for a second, Roe v. Wade is the law of the land. I can tell you with 1,000% certainty that anybody in New York, New Jersey, California, Illinois, and many other states, if they want an abortion, that is whether Roe stays or not. That is the law of the land. What Roe would do would be allow the states to decide. Well, look at the state of New York. Look at the governors look at Newsom out in California. I know people are leaving in droves because of the financial situation they put people in, but this is what you get. You talk about demonization. This is what Ocasio-Cortez does. This is what all of the Democrats do. What are they providing in terms of anything that will improve the lives of the American people? The one issue alone, we can get more, we kill more birds with one stone than any other, and that's energy. We don't have to rely on countries that hate us, the guaranteed instability in the Middle East anymore. We are now energy independent for the first time in 75 years. We're now a net exporter of energy. That means a lot of money coming into our country. That'll also help fix the trade imbalances. If you want to bring Putin to his knees, this is the way to do it, because as soon as we can figure out a way to cheaply get energy, oil, natural gas to our allies in Europe, guess what? They don't have to rely on the hostile regime of Vladimir Putin in Russia. And think what happens here. You know, $80,000 a year, $90,000 a year. They train you to drive a truck and all the overtime you can handle. Well, what does that mean if you're making 35 or 40 grand? Well, that means you doubled your lifestyle, and you're probably living in an area that is more affordable for you and your family. 2 pipelines now on track to be built. ANWR is opened up, regulation after regulation is, you know, gone because of the president, not because of the Republicans. And, you know, why is it that how do you get to say they want dirty air and dirty water? Remember, Obama said their plan is for dirty air and dirty water. Well, I drink the water and I breathe the air and my kids drink the water.
That's my plan.
Their plan.
You got their plan, which is let's have dirtier air, dirtier water, less people with health insurance. All right. So far, at least, I feel better about my plan.
I feel better about, yeah, every parent I know that's a conservative wants dirty air and water for their kids. It's true. They're telling the truth. Every Republican, they don't want to heal grandma. They want to take grandma for a walk and find a big cliff and throw granny over the cliff. That's what they want to do. And they don't care about anybody else but themselves. This is what they'd have you believe. And Ocasio-Cortez, perfect latest example. She said the GOP doesn't care about babies at all. Well, I would say that maybe the governor in the Commonwealth of Virginia that says, well, first you'll deliver the baby.
If a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother.
Oh, make the baby comfortable, deliver the baby, make it comfortable, and then the mother decides, well, do I keep this one or not? Let me make a decision here. Look, there are differences. Most people that I know in my life, now understand, I know a lot of people in New York. They would identify and say that they are pro-choice. When they hear this, they are disgusted. That is murder and infanticide. That is not abortion at that point. Now, when does life begin? Well, everybody's going to have to make up their own mind on that. What I would prefer is an educated population where people understand consequences for their many decisions, because everybody has a choice in the process of leading up to the act that causes the baby to be born or some type of embryo to be formed. And there are ways to prevent it. There's a lot of ways to prevent it. You don't have to, worry about it. But that's up to other people. But this is where they go. And she said if they cared about babies, they'd co-sponsor the Green New Deal or at least have a real climate plan, guarantee health care so all can get prenatal care, not stand for the death and caging of babies on our border. The one guy that changed that policy is in the White House now, because the previous two presidents didn't change the policy, but you didn't care then because their last name wasn't Trump. So again, it's more feigned selective moral outrage. Kavanaugh care about, I believe, every allegation at almost every weekend. They were drugging girls, lining up in the halls and systematically gang raping them every other weekend. And nobody ever told the story. Then the lady gets interviewed. Well, I never saw him spike the punch. I did see him with a red Solo cup. He was near the punch bowl. He was in a hall. I saw him in the hall. He wasn't lined up in the hall. And I believe. There's no I believers. Violent rape and violent sexual assault by credible women that told the friends they have at the time what had happened. I don't hear any I believers for the lieutenant governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. It's phony hypocrisy. It's just a political game to them. They know that there was no collusion with Russia. If they really cared about collusion, they would be demanding the Ukraine hand over that which they want to give us, which proves collusion on the part of the DNC to create chaos and help Hillary win and get dirt on Paul Manafort. Going back all those years. You have one liberal author, this Fran Lebowitz, suggesting Trump deserves the same gruesome fate as Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Wow. What a nice, kind-hearted liberal she is. Oh, and this is really so powerful. When dozens walk out of Mike Pence's commencement speech at Taylor University. You're such a snowflake, you can't even listen to other people's points of view. Who's more open-minded? I have plenty of liberals I debate all the time. And I'm confident that if you're a fairly informed conservative and you're having a debate with any liberal, that on substance, you are going to win. When conservative principles are applied by leadership, in this case, it's Donald Trump, it works. We need a less activist court. So he is picking constitutionalists, originalists for the Supreme Court. By the way, a promise he made, a promise he kept. John Kennedy did it. Ronald Reagan did it. And now Trump is doing it. Largest tax cuts in American history, the greatest amount of deregulation that has happened in 100 years. And look what's happening to the economy. We have 1.7 million jobs available, more jobs available than we have people on unemployment. Why isn't that happening? By the way, early polls show always show Republicans are behind. If you look at the history, they're going to tell you that whoever the Democrat is, they're trying to push this Mayor Pete guy. He's just a radical leftist extremist, that looks like he's, hanging out at some Ivy school fraternity party. And nobody's looking at his record. Nobody knows anything about him except Mayor Pete. Well, they don't treat Trump like Mayor Pete. And I don't know. We're going to watch all of this. But he Buttigieg defended a woman's right to third trimester abortion. He said it this weekend.
Yeah, if you become president, what policies would you put in place to protect every woman, regardless of her zip code's right to have an abortion?
Thank you. So I believe that the right of a woman to make her own decisions about her reproductive health and about her body is a national right. I believe it's an American freedom, and I believe that should be enjoyed by women in every state.
Do you believe at any point in pregnancy, whether it's at 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 24 weeks or whenever, that there should be any limit on a woman's right to have an abortion?
I think the dialogue has got so caught up on where you draw the line that we've gotten away from the fundamental question of who gets to draw the line. And I trust women to draw the line when it's their own.
So just to be clear, you're saying that you would be okay with a woman well into the third trimester deciding to abort her pregnancy?
Look, these hypotheticals are usually set up in order to provoke a strong emotional...
In fairness, it's not hypothetical. There's 6,000 women a year who get abortions in the third
That's right,
trimester.
representing less than 1% of cases.
I know, but 6,000 pregnancies.
How do you get that heartless? The woman, if you remember, in the House of Commons in Virginia that was producing this bill, the day she was the one that testified. Well, she asked the question, well, what if a woman's giving birth? What if the woman's dilating? Dilating means you are now in the birthing process. Kathy Tran, I think was her name. The same day she also sponsored a bill to save the butterflies. The same exact day.
How late in the third trimester could a physician perform an abortion if he indicated it would impair the mental health of the woman?
Or physical health.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm talking about the mental health.
So, through the third trimester. The third trimester goes all the way up to 40 weeks.
Okay. But to the end of the third trimester.
Yep. I don't think we have a limit in the bill.
So, where it's obvious that a woman is about to give birth, she has physical signs that she is about to give a birth, would that still be a point at which she could request an abortion if she was so certified? She's dilating.
Mr. Chairman, that would be a decision that the doctor, the physician, and the woman would make.
I understand that. I'm
point.
asking if your bill allows that.
My bill would allow that, yes.
It allows a baby the moment it's being born to be killed. Do you identify with this party? Do you identify the no more oil or gas, the lifeblood of our economy? There's going to be no more combustion engine. Every house and building would be retrofitted, but we can't ask how we're going to pay for all of that. And then we're going to eliminate airplanes and cows and these people have lost their minds. But it's not just a few. It is now the mainstream of the Democratic Party and their base. It's just like Byron York writes this piece. It was an amazing piece that he wrote. Mueller changed everything. The change is very simple. Mueller could not establish there was any conspiracy or coordination between Russia and Trump and the campaign to fix the 2016 election. That's why they're not going to admit in the media or in the Democratic Socialist Extreme Radical Party that they were wrong. They're just going to keep, let's see his taxes now. Let's demand that Don McGahn, who is the White House counsel, appear before Congress. Let's demand Don Jr. come back. Let's bring everybody back so they can answer the same questions again, and you get the same answers. None of this is happening. That's the good part. Without the judgment of conspiracy in the case of Russia or collusion, everything else has shrunk, as Byron York has put in there. They were so convinced in their own lying and their own anonymous sourcing their own hysterical reporting, their own. I've never seen anything like it. They're so convinced to this day they can't handle the truth that Trump won, and they can't handle Mueller didn't deliver. And they just hate this guy so much. There's nothing that they're going to stop at when it comes to denying Donald Trump re-election victory. When he wins re-election, and he has a very good shot, I don't like to predict this far out in advance. We don't know what the issues that define this upcoming presidential election will be until like the day before. That's why I hate a lot of early voting. What if something changes last second? All right, 800-941-SEAN, toll-free telephone number. We have Newt Gingrich at the top of the next hour. We'll get to your calls. We have John McLaughlin and John Jordan have put together some fascinating data on those that had been disproportionately negatively impacted by the Obama-Biden years, and what an opportunity now exists for Republicans now to create a new coalition with African Americans, Hispanic Americans, and yes, women. We'll get to that. Want to remind you, because the offer from the USCCA is up on Friday. I've been talking about this very special giveaway for weeks. This is absolutely your last chance to win it. Now, my friends at the USCCA giving away 10 free chances. You can win a brand new gun, not any gun, an AR-15. Now, it ends this week, though. And that's Friday, May 24th. All gone. Entering is free, easy, simple. Just text the word guns, pull out your phone. Text the word guns, GUNS, to 87222. You know what? The USCCA gives it away to responsibly armed Americans, and Americans are vital to preventing violence and preserving freedom. Text the word guns to 87222.
RCA Victor Television. One more day to Labor Day weekend, the traditional occasion for tasty outdoor barbecues or picnics.
all the enemies who are between me and
Bye.